Alright guys, welcome back. Welcome back to every episode of Spongebob Season 3 review. Yep, we're going to be going back and reviewing some more episodes. We're almost done with this season. Almost done. We're actually almost done. You know, we've got this, and then after this video, I've got the 7 more episodes, and then we'll be done. I'm actually excited. Yeah, I really am. I am excited indeed to be done with this. Even though pre-movie SpongeBob, is known for, being a pretty good, show for SpongeBob. It's very popular. A lot of people like pre-movie SpongeBob. I'm kind of, looking forward to, reviewing, post-movie SpongeBob too. That way I can, that way I can, get, my thoughts out on stuff like that. But yeah, I'm actually really, really looking forward to this, so. But, yeah, you guys know the drill. If you guys haven't already, please hit the like button, subscribe to my channel. I am trying to get to 1K subs. I'm over 600 subs right now. Thank you guys for the support. If we can get to, 1K subs, I'll give you guys a super reward video. But we have to get there first. Also, I've had some people question, me on doing some Family Guy reviews. And I've said, that I am going to be doing Family Guy, after Season 5 of SpongeBob, because the reason why I'm splitting it up like this is so I don't get burnt out on reviewing, the same show, like Pie Guy did. I've had this planned for a long time. I just wanted to get better at my videos first, so yeah, that's the plan and all that, and I'll probably even throw in, like, a small show in there, too. I don't know. I haven't decided on that one yet, because I was thinking of doing, like, Johnny Test or something, too, because that's only, like, 6 seasons. I mean, I guess they had the revival, too, but, it doesn't have a ton of seasons either, but, but I'd be probably doing mainly the original one first, because it's technically a different kind of show, but I don't know, I don't want to make it too overwhelming, so we'll see what happens, we'll see. But yeah, we're gonna see what will happen. But, yeah, and the last thing I want to say, too, is, some people were asking me about showing my face off. I'm not one of those YouTubers that doesn't like doing that. I don't like doing that. A lot of YouTubers are like that. Even Missy, you don't know who she is. She's like, a Let's Player. She doesn't like doing that either, so, I probably won't show my face off, because I don't really like doing that on camera, but, even on my, social media stuff, I don't really show my face off a lot, so, yeah. But yeah, that's basically, what I'm doing there, but yeah, I promise you guys, I will give you guys a reward video when we get to 1K subs, but it won't be a face reveal, but trust me, it will be something pretty big. But, yeah, but let's go ahead and actually get into this, now that we got the introduction out of the way. Let's review our next episode here, which is, a special. Yeah, we are starting off with a special. Have we done that before? I can't remember if I've started off with a special before or not. I can't remember. I don't think we have. Because I think this is actually the first special in this season that I'm reviewing. There's actually another one that will be in this set too. So, yeah, we're going to be having that in a band episode too. Oh yeah, we're going to get all the juicy stuff in this set. But yeah, we're going to be reviewing the first, episode on the, special in this season. And that is, Party Pooper Pants, which has Patchy in there too. Yeah, for season 2 and 3, they kind of used Patchy in a lot of the specials. And then after this, they kind of used him here and there, but they never really used him again after that. He actually disappeared after a while, too, and then he came back. You know, and he kind of disappeared again. Like, it's very weird, but yeah, he did not appear in every special. Now, something weird that, that happened was, in, like, season 4 or 5, there's something weird that happened with the specials with him in it. Like, it's a cameo or something, but I'll talk more about that when we get to that, because I have some things to say about that, because I think it's kind of weird, but speaking of which, I have some things to say about this episode. So, the last video, we ended on a good episode. A really good one. Like, it was a really, really funny episode. Definitely one of the most funniest of the episodes of the entire series. But then we have on this one, so now we're now starting off with an episode that's not as good. A lot of people does not like this episode. People do not like it. And, I can kind of see why. I can kind of see why people don't like it a lot, because, so this episode, has, both Patchy and Spongebob throwing, a house party. Which, you would think that's really cool and all that. But the problem is, though, as it's, it's implied, it's called Party Pooper Pants. Patchy's party actually wasn't super bad. I kind of liked it a little bit, Patchy had I liked all, like, these references, like we saw King Neptune, so I guess there's another King Neptune as well, because this one's not green, You could just say it's the way the underwater affects the body, but we've seen, like, Santa Claus, we've seen, in the Mrs. Puff episode, or Mr. Krabs Falls, I love it, Mrs. Puff, we see a live-action human in the water, playing a piano, but then we got Merman Man and Barnacle Boy that are humans, too, in the water, but they're a cartoon, but you could say, well, maybe that's just their powers affected, and that's the thing, they could use that, even though down the road there will be an episode focusing on that, they kind of don't really point that out, but I don't know, it's just kind of weird to see another King Neptune. But I like how Patchy's like, he's king of the sea, like he's all annoyed about it. It's pretty funny. Yeah, so, the Patchy segments, for the most part, are not that bad. I even like the little song they have. One thing I don't really like about Patchy's segment, though, is, like, there's one point where he blows up and then becomes, like, completely paralyzed. I don't know, I get it's supposed to be, like, a cartoon and funny, kind of like Tom and Jerry, but it just kind of feels a little bit, a little disturbing, a little bit just seeing, like, his freaking head. Like, it's different with a cartoon, I don't know, with the head. Like, just seeing it on a barrel and all, it just looks weird and all that to me, but maybe it's just me, but I don't think it's that bad of an episode, but there's a lot of good stuff with it. Now the SpongeBob special is the part that, of the episode that I don't really care about a lot. So it starts off with SpongeBob going to, this store, and he sees this guy, he has a photograph of him smiling. It's a funny but really disturbing joke. It's like, why the hell is he so freaking depressed now? Like, I guess maybe, he did say, SpongeBob said, that was the first time he ever met him. So maybe when he met SpongeBob, he just started getting annoyed with him. I don't know. But that seems to be a big, common thing, with, episodes, it's like, or in the show, it's like the workers just seem annoyed and all that, which, it's like that in the real world too, but it just seems kind of weird, in a kid's cartoon and then in SpongeBob and all that. It's like they hate their jobs and all that. There's even a moment where, I've reviewed, on the Mooncation episode way down the road in season 8, and I pointed that out too, I think I pointed that out. It's just like this gal trying to give SpongeBob a cake, she just seems kind of freaking annoyed. It's kind of a weird running joke that they kind of do throughout the series, um, but yeah, I don't know, but yeah, so he basically has these supplies and all that, so he decides to throw his party. Now this is where the part of the episode where I don't really like it, because so he's trying to keep to a schedule and all that, and I mean. Yeah, I mean, like for example, like a birthday party or something like that, you want to have a schedule for, like, opening presents. Maybe a baby shower, you might do that too, or something. But, I feel like, letting people kind of just hang out and have fun too is nice too. But because he's going off this stupid list, obviously, that backfires, and he gets kicked out of his house because, he forgot he doesn't have his keys, so he can't get back in. So he spends pretty much the entire episode pretty much outside. And I'm going to tell you guys a little something. I don't think I pointed this out yet. I've had people kind of like question me in the comments and all that, but I want to point this out because literally I did not notice this until I watched like a video. I don't remember like what it was on, but I think it was Perch Birkins or somebody was pointing out Patrick, like, and Sandy being kind of a thing and all that there. They actually forgot about that after this season, but yeah, because he goes to liking mermaids. Actually, he goes to like not really doing any of that, but yeah, you can, like, if you look in, like, one scene, Patrick is, like, dancing with Sandy, which you may be like, well, it's his friend, of course he'll dance with his friend, but the way he's dancing with her, he's all nervous, and, and, like, feels awkward, I think it shows he kind of likes Sandy a little bit. This is something they'll do again here, and they've done this, and I think on the last... Like in the the last season too, in season 2, they show Patrick rubbing lotion on Sandy's back, or no, not on his back, or her back, on her shoulders and all that, and he has this big a grin on his face, like it's really funny, but yeah, I definitely feel like the writers were kind of going somewhere there, and then they kind of abandoned it. Because that's kind of what they did with Mr. Krabs and Mrs. Puff too. They abandoned that too. That was like that one episode. Like Mrs. Puff is in this episode, and and Mr. Krabs is too, but they don't really interact. So maybe the writers were kind of playing around with things to kind of figure out what worked and what didn't, for their view, because writers have, different ways they want to approach, an episode. Because I think they did the same thing with Spongebob. They kind of wanted to make him more, jealous of of Sandy, like, in ripped pants and all that, and then they decided to go ahead and just, like, not worry about that, But yeah, they do bring back, the Mr. Krabs and Mrs. Puff thing down the road and all that, and I'm just gonna say that episode is really bad. I'm like not looking forward to that, but they do bring it back in there, and they will kind of keep that kind of trend going later on. But as for right now, yeah, it's like abandoned. But yeah, but they will bring it back, and then they will kind of forget about it and bring it back again, But yeah, that's kind of when I look at this, and I mean, I could make a separate video on it, but I don't know if I have a lot to say about it, but I'm reviewing this episode, so, yeah, but it'll appear again in Pranks a lot, too, where Patrick randomly just, puts a lot of, portraits of himself up, as a joke in her tree dome and all that, and, you can definitely see Sandy, like, you might like Sandy, it's really interesting, But, yeah, but anywho, enough about that, let's talk about, party pooper pants, like the other part. So, I was gonna say, Spongebob, though, gets locked out of his house, like I said, he gets locked out of his house, And we don't really get to see the party that much. I mean, we see the party inside, but we don't really see it a lot. And a lot of people, cheer because SpongeBob was ruining the party, and, the audience likes him getting kicked out. But I'm like, I don't really like him ruining the party, but I also don't, I feel like it kind of ruins the vibe of the episode a little bit, having him, going to a party. He makes this party and all that. It would be really cool to see that. Like, it would be like Band Geeks, Band Geeks. They try to make, different stuff, but, oh yeah, speaking of Band Geeks, I didn't bring this up either, but apparently, SpongeBob, purposely cut Squidward's cable cords just to make him come over. So, I guess that means that SpongeBob may be aware of what he does sometimes, I don't know. I mean, I guess to be fair, he can be a little naive and kind of dumb, but I'm just saying, like, the fact that he did that on purpose just tells you that he knows Squidward does not want to come. But yeah, he did this, SpongeBob stuff, had this joke before, an Employee of the Month, too, back in season 1, they made that joke, too, so it's kind of weird, but, I mean, even Patrick made jokes like that, so it's like they know they annoy Squidward, but I don't really like that joke. I think that joke goes a little too far, but I don't know. But yeah, I wanted to bring that up because I forgot about that, but yeah, like I said, he tries to get back in the house and all that, and I will say there are some funny moments, like apparently Larry's in his bathroom and has a square cone. That's pretty funny, like I like that he just has a freaking random, square, cone. And then we also see, Larry looking at himself in the like mirror and showing like a real life lobster. It's really funny. Like, I really like that joke. But yeah, unfortunately, there really isn't a lot to that. And probably the most annoying thing in the entire episode that I'm going to talk about is, SpongeBob gets freaking kicked. I mean, he not only gets kicked out, which, yeah, I will say he was being a party pooper, not letting people have fun. But apparently the fucking cops, the Bikini Bottom cops, they freaking arrest, SpongeBob. They arrest him. And they arrest him, and then he goes to jail and all that because they didn't get invited to his party. Like, I'm like, that's just fucking stupid. Like, that is just stupid. Now, honestly, the police, men and, and all that, all of them in this show, I mean, they can have funny moments, like in Hall Monitor, they were pretty funny. Of course, until they arrest Mrs. Puff, I didn't like that. That felt kind of forced, but I did like their moment where they were showing Patrick this picture of, SpongeBob, but a lot of times, honestly, they are just like, they're just annoying, like, they just arrest people for the most stupidest reasons, and this is one of them. Like, yeah, SpongeBob was SpongeBob didn't deserve, SpongeBob was, being a party pooper, like I said, not letting his, friends and all that have fun, but he doesn't deserve to get fucking arrested and all that. Like, I hate that. Like, he gets arrested and it's just stupid. Like, it's just stupid. Like, I don't know why they thought that was funny, but yeah, I did not like that joke at all. Like, I think it was just stupid, but yeah, they basically just take him away. But luckily he only goes to jail overnight, so I'm guessing maybe the judge was probably like, you can't arrest, SpongeBob, because, you didn't get invited to a party, So, so yeah, I mean, yeah. But yeah, this episode, though, like, I like the Patchy segment. I don't really care for the SpongeBob stuff that much. I'm gonna go ahead and, I know I'm, like, really far in, but I've had a lot to say about this episode. I'm gonna give it a meh. And then I'm gonna be giving it not just a meh, but I'm gonna be giving it 47 points. Yeah, it was really close to getting bad. Now, yeah, the patchy segments are a little bit more interesting with the... But the thing is, the patchy segments, though, are yeah, they're a bit more interesting, but they don't really make up for, like, the Spongebob stuff and all that. I really want to, watch the Spongebob, stuff, but... Yeah, I really didn't really, I really didn't care for, this episode that much. I mean, I can understand why some people don't like it, and that's perfectly fine, like I said, it's people's right to have their own opinion, but I don't think it deserves bad, because there are some enjoyable moments in it, and Patrick does give me a few laughs, but it was really close to getting a bad. It was really close. It was very, it felt like it was just there was really no party with it. It just felt more like SpongeBob trying to get back in. I wish they just cut that whole plot out and just have SpongeBob just trying to learn to, you can learn to, have fun or something like that. I don't know. I mean, I just think the episode could have been a lot better, but it's not like the worst special, but yeah, it's definitely not my favorite. But let's go ahead and move on to our next episode. So we go from a bad, or not really a lot of people think it's bad, to an episode where people think, it's really good. So yeah, it's really interesting. We go from an episode people don't like, and I think it's, not very, good, and now we go to an episode people actually really like, and that is chocolate with nuts. You guys like some chocolate bars? I like chocolate bars. Well, I guess it depends. I kind of like white chocolate more than dark chocolate. I actually like, I'm more of a Kit Kat person. I like Hershey's, but I like, Kit Kats. But I do, like me some chocolate bars. So this episode here, this one, is pretty interesting. So this episode is chocolate with nuts. Yep, you heard that right. It's with nuts. So, for example, what the nuts mean, you may be thinking, nuts peanuts and stuff in it, but no. Actually, what I think they're implying here is these kind of nuts. Wait a minute. Oops. How did that end up in there? Oops, sorry about that. I don't know how that ended up in there. I meant to say... There we go. Yep, this is what I was talking about. Yep, these kind of nuts. So yeah, that's what I think they mean by that. So there's SpongeBob and Patrick, I guess are for some reason snooping in Squidward's mailbox. I don't know why. And they come across, these magazines and all that. So they want to figure out how to make money so they can live like these people. So Squidward suggests he basically just tells them how they find things for people to buy or something like that, and so they decide to go on chocolate bars. And so throughout this entire episode, there are lots of jokes, lots of funny jokes and all that. And then we have this nut job, fish who yells chocolate throughout the entire episode. Oh my god, it is fucking hilarious. Oh my god, it's funny, and yeah, it's one of the most funniest episodes ever. This one is definitely getting a good, and then I'm giving it 120 points. Yeah, this episode is really, really good. It is really good. I don't know if there's any flaws with this episode. That's how good this one is. That's how it's really good, you know. That's how good this episode is. It's really funny and all that, and I do like all these jokes they throw in there, like Patrick constantly misunderstanding what SpongeBob says, and then like he's telling Patrick to make sure to give eye contact and all that. So he stretches his freaking his eyes out at this focusing. It's really funny, and then he also says at one point, Patrick's saying "I love you" to the customer, making it feel uncomfortable. Because SpongeBob said to make sure to love the customer and all that, but Patrick misunderstood exactly what he meant by that. It's really funny. Like I said, there are freaking jokes all over the place in this episode. And then you got the freaking guy who scams them and all that, it's really funny and all, he just scams them, and at the end of the episode, apparently they rent out this whole dining room. And all that, because there's this dining room that they go to and all that, it's like the expensive one, or Mr. Krabs and Mrs. Puff, where at. Apparently, they rent out the whole place. And they take out these old couple, this old lady and her mom, which looks like a freaking skeleton. Somehow she's freaking still alive. I don't know how she's still alive. I guess that chocolate really is working. Because, Patrick offered her, or get some chocolate and rub it on her. Even though I'm pretty sure she's been past her time for a long time. I don't know. There are just tons of jokes. Like I said, I could just go on and on. I bet Mr. Krabs though would be pissed if he found out SpongeBob and Patrick had all this freaking money to rent out this whole place when he blew it all on Mrs. Puff. I guess that, to be fair, that's kind of his fault, but you know what I'm saying, But yeah, speaking of food, places. Apparently, they were when they were trying to figure out what they wanted to, they're coming up with ways trying to sell stuff to people. They're actually in the same. I think they're in the same dining room that SpongeBob, Merman Man, and Barnacle Boy were in the second episode in season 1. Merman Man and Barnacle Boy 2. Where they were at in that dining room. Because the reason why I'm bringing that up, because I think that dining room, it disappears. I could be wrong, but I don't remember seeing it after, it appears a couple times here, and then it's gone. They never bring it back again, at least that I'm aware of. I mean, maybe the new seasons, they bring it back. But I could be wrong. Like I said, they could end up bringing it back, but I think that's one of the places that they kind of forgot about on SpongeBob. But like I said, maybe it did appear in season 4 and 5. I don't remember. But I don't know, because I know the other place that giant ship in a bottle looking place that they're at the end of the episode is in later episodes. So, but I don't know. But yeah, this episode's definitely really good. But I'm gonna move on because I don't have a lot to say about it compared to the other one. So we're gonna move on to the next episode. The next episode is speaking of Merman Man and Barnacle Boy. I actually didn't even know this one was next. I forgot. We got Merman Man and Barnacle Boy 5. Now, right off the bat, as you guys look down there, it says a fun fact. Apparently, this episode was going to be originally longer. So there's actually a storybook, board of this episode, and it's going to be it was going to be longer, but then I think they cut it. They decided to cut it down. I'm I'm not sure why. I don't know if Nickelodeon wanted it to be shorter or what. I don't know. But I remember seeing the. It's been a little bit since I've seen the deleted storybook, but they had like a scene where they were fighting in like a machine or something, I think it was like a lady like machine and all that. I don't remember. I don't remember like all of that, but and all that. But it was gonna be kind of crazy. But yeah, so this episode though, Merman Man and Barnacle Boy apparently are in line and all that. Everybody's stuck waiting. They're stuck freaking waiting in line and all that. So Merman Man and Barnacle Boy are trying to order because apparently Merman Man cannot order his food, because of his old age. He's like senile and all that. But he's pretty. He's senile, but he's pretty funny. I'm not gonna lie. It's honestly kind of like going to a freaking Texas Roadhouse in like the evening. At least the ones I've been to. Oh my god, you could be waiting forever just to get into them because you have like a long line or something. But basically though. So they finally get their order, and apparently, Barnacle Boy, is upset because, he can't get an adult Krabby Patty because, he doesn't finish it, which is what, Merman Man said, which I'm just like, okay, if you can't, like, you can still get a regular size Krabby Patty and just take it to go. Like, can you just take it to go? I guess there'd be fair, like, just one bite, there was somebody who just threw the Krabby Patty away, but we've seen, people take them to go before. We've seen them out. We've seen the Krabby Patties, like, like, outside them, like, we've seen, them in outside places before, So I don't understand, like, I don't understand why they, like, he can't just take it to go, but I don't know. But apparently everybody's treating him like shit, and treating him like a baby. So he decides to join the dark side, where we have the Dirty Bubble and Man Ray. Which the Dirty Bubble sadly did not have his original voice actor come back. Who I don't know if I brought it up in Merman and Barnacle Boy 2, but he passed away a while ago. I don't remember when, but he passed away. So may he rest in peace. We do have the original voice actor of Man Ray. Apparently, he came back. He came back for this is like I think his last speaking role, from what I heard. In this, as Man Ray, and then somebody else takes over. But yeah, I gotta say though, they're pretty entertaining in this episode and all that. And I like all like there's like some funny jokes here and there, and then at one point, we get, apparently, Merman Man and, we get Merman Man and SpongeBob and all his friends, except Mr. Krabs. Sadly, we don't get to see Mr. Krabs dress up as a superhero, but all the other ones get to dress up as superheroes. And I gotta say, I like these superpowers. I really like them a lot. Yeah, I think they're based off of, like the Justice League, I think. Like, so I don't think they're like, I don't know if they would be Marvel. I don't know. Like, maybe some of them might be their own thing, but like, I think one of them can turn invisible. I don't think there's one that can shoot their volcano stuff out of their head, but yeah, I think that's what it's kind of based off a little bit. But I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I'm not, I don't know if I would say if it is or not, but I wouldn't be surprised if it is, but there's only so many powers a superhero can have too, so, like you could probably create your own superhero and have the same powers. As long as it looked different, you can do that. I'm just saying, but yeah, basically though, They all dress up and all that, and then, go to stop, Barnacle Boy and his friends, and honestly, they end up defeating themselves and all at the end. So Merman actually loses. I'm not gonna lie to you guys, though. I will say I do find it funny that they actually lose to their own mistakes. It's pretty funny. Like SpongeBob gets lit on fire by Squidward, and then Patrick tries to save him and all that. It's pretty funny and all that, but like honestly, it's just I don't know. I really wish there was more to the episode. Like, yeah, like I think the episode would have been better if it were a lot longer. But I'm gonna go ahead and just give it a score now. I mean, it's gonna get it good. But I'll give it a good. And 92 points. Some people might not agree with me on this, but yeah, I think it's getting 92 points because and some people might think that's a little bit too low, but I kind of wish we got to see more of the powers, you know. Like, I feel like, you know, they by the time they get their powers and stuff, like, it's almost over, you know? Like, I kind of wish we could have seen, you know, more of that. You know? But otherwise, though, I think the episode itself is really good. It's really funny. Like, it really is. And I like how the Chief... Of like they have this like live action guy on the screen, but the Chief, I think his name's the Chief. I can't remember. Like, I think SpongeBob like or said the Chief, and then he like questioned it. I don't know. I literally just watched the episode and I cannot remember. I don't know. Let's call him the Chief. But like he's like kissing himself, and it's really funny. Like, I don't know why he's kissing himself. I guess he must taste that good. Sorry. I just had a little drama in there. But yeah, I think this is probably one of the better ones. I would say, I think this episode is probably up there with, I don't know, I would say maybe this one might be better than, like, I don't know, like, this episode or Merman and Barnacle Boy 2. Because the thing is, Merman and Barnacle Boy 2, I think, was pretty funny too, but this one you get to see all the characters and stuff, but then again, you don't get to see them fighting, but, because I think if that were the case, this probably would be my favorite, but, I don't know. I know the last one is probably my least favorite, though, because, it really didn't focus on, really, Merman and Barnacle Boy a lot. It just focused on their Merman's belt, and I felt like the episode kind of dragged a little bit. It had some funny moments, but it dragged. This one feels like it has a lot of good stuff in it. And I feel like it's too short. Like it needs more. Like it needs some more, you know, stuff in there. But yeah, I don't know. But yeah, otherwise though, yeah, this episode is still good. It's still a really good episode. Just not as good, like you know, as probably. I mean, well, actually, like I said, it's pretty good, but I don't know. I think maybe Merman and Barnacle Boy 3 might be better than it. I don't know. But that's because, like I said, they don't really. They have these superheroes and idea, but they don't really do anything with it, you know. And I mean, yeah, I'm happy. I think it's funny the way they lost, but I kind of wish we had more screen time. And maybe we could have seen Merman and Barnacle Boy and his evil henchmen or whatever, like, actually do evil stuff, you know, but they actually have to save, you know, stuff, but yeah, I don't know. But otherwise, yeah, it's not that bad of an episode. But let's go ahead and move on to our next one. Our next one is, okay, New Student Starfish. So this is another boating school episode, another one. And similar to the bully one, this one actually focuses on kind of the school part of it, which I like. Because I don't really like the driving stuff as much. But yeah, this episode though, this one honestly though, I don't like this one as much as the bully one. In fact, there are some people who don't really care for this one either, and that is because this episode, Patrick can be a little bit annoying at times. So what happens is, Patrick, is upset because SpongeBob, is going to school and he can't see him. Yeah, I mean, I kind of feel, I feel bad for Patrick here, and SpongeBob offers to have him come with him so he can go to school too. Although I don't know if that will solve the problem, long term, but it solves the problem now. But yeah, basically though, he goes to school, and we see like a cool tour of the school and all. Yeah, like you guys see what I'm saying? Like we see like the stairs and all that, so we see more of the school. Because most of the time they either focus on Mrs. Puff's classroom or the driving part. So seeing the entire place is pretty cool. We don't see the non-stairs of learning though. We don't see where those lead, but it's still pretty cool. But then we get to the part where they actually have the class and all that, and this is where I kind of start getting on with people where I think it can get a little annoying. So Patrick and SpongeBob are being distracted, and then Mrs. Puff gives them a warning, and then Patrick draws this freaking picture of Mrs. Puff. She's called Big Fat Meanie, and all that, and apparently SpongeBob gets the blame. He gets the fucking blame for something Patrick did. So yeah, Patrick, gets him in trouble. And for some reason, I guess Mrs. Puff decides to keep... I'm like, why, if you're keeping all these pictures in your desk, then I don't know why it's a problem. I guess to be fair, because they did distract her from her teaching, but I think it's weird she just has a bunch of pictures of herself in the freaking drawer. I don't know, but yeah, so SpongeBob loses his freaking good noodle star and then gets thrown all the way back, and somehow, apparently Patrick's like freaking talking to SpongeBob in the back, but somehow, Mrs. Puff can't hear Patrick talking to him, but can hear SpongeBob, SpongeBob did yell, but he can hear them clearly up close. We whispering. Well, I guess to be fair, he is far away, but I'm like, again, it doesn't really make any sense there and all that. And then they both get freaking detention because they they go in and fight. Not gonna lie, they are not very good, and they are pretty shitty at fighting each other. Gotta say it's pretty funny though, but I'm just saying they're not very good fighters. I'll just say that. I did like that freaking, I do like seeing Mrs. or like Patrick swinging his arms. It's pretty funny, but yeah, it's a pretty shitty fight that they do. Even the crowd is like bored of it. But they get put in detention and all that, and besides like the middle, I think the beginning and the end is actually pretty good. Like I do like that they work together, and heck, even Patrick apologizes to SpongeBob, which is something he rarely does. Patrick usually doesn't freaking care what he does. So seeing him actually apologize to, SpongeBob, it's crazy. I mean, we've seen him apologize in some cases, like he apologized, in Sailor Mouth and all that, but still barely, does any of that. But yeah, but yeah, I'm gonna definitely give it a good though, and then I'm gonna be giving it 96 points. Yeah, it's getting 96 points. This episode, though, like I said, it has a really good start and a really good ending. I like seeing them, team up and all, and we get to see a live action chick from Roger. Apparently, the chick's name's Roger. From what I heard, originally he was going to be like animated. I'm not sure why they cut that. Maybe because having like live action animals from above fits it better. I'm not sure, but that's what I apparently heard. From I learned that from apparently there's a YouTuber called Employee a Million who talked about that. So yeah, apparently that was the case. So that's what they did there. But yeah, this episode could have been better, but it could have been a lot worse. Yeah, especially when you consider it's a boating school episode. That's not a bad score. I mean, it's still not great, but not bad. And it's not even because of the boating school stuff. It's just because I think it can get a little annoying at times. But anywho, let's move on to clams. Yep, clams is next. So, fun fact about this episode. Apparently, it's like a parody of Jaws. So Jaws, and it might be a parody of Moby Dick too. I think Moby Dick is the name of the book. Yeah, I think it's Moby Dick, where a guy catches a whale. I think it's a white whale. According to Fairly Odd Parents, because there's an episode on that. I don't remember, but it kind of has a similar vibe. You're out in sea looking for a freaking creature. But yeah, you're going out looking for a creature, and yeah. But the thing is, though, what makes it kind of like a parody of Jaws too is you got the clams too. So how you have Jaws, you got clams up there. It's pretty cool. Even the wording kind of looks like it, and then you got the clam actually looks like the Jaws shark. So I think it's more of a parody of Jaws and less of Moby Dick. It might have a little bit of Moby Dick in it because again, Mr. Krabs is searching for this, $1 millionth that he earned and all that, and I'm not sure why the hell he even brought it out with him. I'm like, he could have just kept it at home. He could have just, kept it at home and all that, and framed it like he did with the other dollar, but I don't know. But, yeah, he basically, loses this dollar to this clam. And actually, I think even the music is a remix, I think, of Jaws, too. I think it is. I don't know. I don't really watch Jaws. I do not want to watch it because, I don't really like horror movies a lot. And Jaws, honestly, are real sharks. Now, I don't know if sharks would all behave like that. Now, people have been killed by sharks, but, I mean, they a lot of times they won't attack you unless you, bleed or something. I mean, I think they can be aggressive at times. I think I've heard they can be aggressive. That's why I don't watch Jaws. I don't want to be reminded of that. But, yeah, I like that he takes, SpongeBob and Squidward, out to sea to have some fun, for helping him get his dollar. Which, I'm like, that's pretty funny, because Mr. Krabs never really gives a shit about his employees much anymore. Because we're going to have an episode coming up here pretty soon that just verifies it. But yeah, basically though, he takes them out to sea and all that, and there's actually a YouTube poop of this episode too. I don't know if it's still around, but I don't really like YouTube poop videos because a lot of times they're just random noise and stuff. but I like them when they make edits, and let's just say they made a funny little joke with Squidward and all that in it, with the hook and stuff. But yeah, it's a pretty funny joke. But yeah, but yeah, I don't know. But yeah, I don't know if it's still available or not, because there's one of them I can't find where like Patrick kills Squidward and all that, and it's like a weird editing. Like it has this creepy like music, like this piano music, and then like Squidward's all crazy looking, and I think it's the scene from what was it? What was that episode? Oh yeah, I forgot that. Just one bite. I think it was just one bite where he's running, I think, to the Krusty Krab, I think, and then he's got, I think that's what that was. It was a pretty funny parody, but I think that one's gone. But yeah, I don't know. But that's the thing, though. They made a lot of those, but sometimes they can be good, but verily, a lot of times these YouTube poops are not that great. Yeah, that's what they did with this episode. But anywho, I was just saying about that. But I want to talk about the episode itself. I personally don't have a lot to say about it. I do like that Mr. Krabs tries to get his dollar back and all that, and once the clam takes it, and apparently he dresses up as this freaking detailed looking sailor. It's pretty funny. Like, I don't know, it may be Moby Dick. I don't know, because it has the beard and all that. I don't know, like an old fisherman. I don't know. Wait, did he have a beard? I don't remember. SpongeBob and Patrick. Well, they all got beards afterward, like just sitting there for a while. But Mr. Krabs wasn't wearing his outfit, So I don't know. I don't remember. I don't think he had a beard, but I don't know. Because I don't know if Moby Dick you can even see the pictures, but I will say with this episode though, I will say that it brings back the joke I was talking about in pre-hibernation week, where I was talking about that in this episode. Gary actually it talks about SpongeBob needs to go home so he can feed Gary, and then we cut to Gary eating the sofa. So I'm like, did this episode take place before that? I don't know. I mean, to be fair though, this episode though, came out way later, so, but that doesn't mean anything, I mean, I don't know. But yeah, it's a pretty funny, reoccurring like a joke they brought back, but yeah, eventually Mr. Krabs goes freaking insane. And all he goes insane and all that, and then uses them as live bait, and he gets his dollar and all that, and and apparently he comes back, and he's I guess lost most of his body, but yeah, this episode though has got a lot of memorable moments. I definitely like it. I will say Mr. Krabs going insane. It could be like pre-hibernation week, where it can be a little bit nuts, like a little bit too much, but like I don't think they go super old. I mean, yeah, they go a little overboard with they go a little overboard with his insanity, but I don't think it's as bad as pre-hibernation week. But let's go ahead and give it a good, and then we're gonna give it a good. And then 120 points. Yep, 120 points. Yeah, this episode is really interesting. It's not my favorite. Like, it's definitely no chocolate with nuts or something like that. But I definitely think this episode has got a great setting and all that, and I like its parody. It's pretty nice. But But yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say with this episode. So let's go ahead and move on to another episode called Ugh. So, similar to Party Pooper Pants, this is another episode people are not, the biggest fans of. People say this episode is, say this episode is very, mediocre. And I gotta say, unlike Party Pooper Pants, I actually like this one. Yep, I like this episode a lot. In fact, I'm gonna be giving it 100 points. Yep, I'm gonna be giving it 100 points. Now, I'll explain why I'm giving it 100 points and not 120 in a second. I first want to talk about, this episode apparently has, more patchy stuff. More patchy, yep. This is the fourth patchy, featured, thing in the show here. Yeah, they pretty much, like I said, they pretty much love to use patchy around here. They really do. And this is another episode where they do that. I gotta say, I really like the patchy segments. Like, I really like, I like seeing, Patchy and Potty going at it with each other with, like, the future and the past. Which one's better and all that, and I like seeing, we see a caveman who's played by the actor who plays Patrick. So we see, like, Patchy, who plays SpongeBob, and then another guy playing Patrick in live action. It's pretty cool. I really like that a lot. I like just seeing it, in the prehistoric times in general. Yeah, I don't know why this is, but I like watching, like shows and stuff of like that focus on like people living in like rocky areas or like not just rocky areas but like in the like not just rocky areas but like in the jungle or something, like just having like living in there. Like, I don't know why, I just think it's kind of cool. I mean, I don't know why. But yeah, this episode though has has all that going on, and I like too that Potty eventually causes more mayhem, So unlike the last special, it's Patchy's turn, or it's Potty's turn to be the one causing trouble, but they make it where it's not super annoying, but I like that it has KV trying to like touch this robot. Which I don't know who's playing the robot. I don't know if it's it sounds like it could be SpongeBob, but I don't know. I don't know who's playing the robot, but I like how the robot is just, I guess the robot really doesn't like being touched. Gotta keep those COVID germs away, right? Yep, so he just shoots freaking lasers at this poor caveman and all that. And actually, this is where, like, one of the scenes, now, I don't know, like, there are some versions of this episode. Now, I think on Paramount Plus, I watched it, I think this scene was in there, but I think the 100 episodes, it was removed. But there are, like, some DVDs, that, I think the Nick Picks DVD, I believe. I don't know, I had to, like, rewatch that. Like, where it has, like, different episodes from different shows. I think it actually has the scene in there. But there is a scene where, like, the caveman throws a rock. Like, it throws a rock, and then it hits Patchy. But they cut that out. Like, I'm not sure why they cut it out. I guess maybe because it's violent for kids. But only certain runs of the episode have that. And like, we saw freaking Patchy get freaking blown up and all that in the last one with like freaking dynamite, so I'm like, that's okay, right? I guess to be fair, it didn't look a lot like dynamite. Maybe they changed it so it's not as violent. I don't know. It just seems so weird that they cut out the scene, but you can actually get it on DVD without having to have Paramount Plus if you don't want it. You can stream it, but it's a little bit more harder to get. So if you don't want to have multiple DVDs, you might as well get Paramount Plus. I don't know. It's just kind of, like I said, it's just kind of weird how it's cut out. But I think it's not cut out on Paramount. I'm pretty sure I saw it on there. I don't know. I have to rewatch that, but I'm just letting you guys know because nobody that reviews this episode points that out. I like too that it's also taking place in like the dinosaur times too. Like, what is with these prehistoric things? Even the Flintstones has done this, but like humans were not really discovered until like humans weren't really discovered until the dinosaur, like until like the oldest humans that were found, I think, were like a few, like 100,000 years ago. So during the Ice Age, era. Not saying there can't be, humans, that lived around that time, because we don't know. We find stuff all the time. Like, apparently people found a snake bigger than the Titanic boa. Apparently, I think it was last year or something. So that's pretty, interesting. So that kind of proves you can find different stuff. But I'm just saying, it's kind of, strange to have all that, but it's taking place in the dinosaur times. But I mean, I'm not complaining. I think it's unique in its own way. But that also could be just because I like it, like that. I just like having it, take place in a specific time, or like in the outdoor-ish stuff with like the rock benches and stuff. I don't know. But we had like a T-Rex. For some reason, Potty freaking chases Patchy with a freaking T-Rex. For some reason, Patchy, I don't know why Patchy ran outside. I'm like I guess a T-Rex could like crush probably a home, but I'm like, I don't know. It just seems kind of weird, but I don't know why Patch or like Potty wanted to do that anyway, to him, because that makes Potty look like a freaking psychopath, but I don't know, but now we could talk about the actual episode itself. So this episode, though, I want to say this episode is, like the actual episode has, SpongeBob and, like similar to the Party Pooper episode and, the other Patchy stuff. Well, except for Shanghai, because that one was part of the episode too, but that wasn't like themed after it. This one and the Christmas one were themed after it, or the other one too, but this one has, them in prehistoric times, so we see like cave versions of themselves. And I gotta say, I really like seeing them in caveman forms and all that. Like just seeing them like with like their caveman ancestry and seeing how they live, and I don't know. Some stuff kind of drags out a little bit. Like I think like SpongeBob like staring at the fire and then like the stick, and then like I feel like that could drag out a little bit because there's like a fire, and then them kind of clapping to make the rain and all that appear. That's kind of how the fire appears. It feels like it can drag out a little bit with the jokes. I will say the choir one was pretty funny, but otherwise, I don't know. I really like seeing them like they go to like eating the food and all with the fireplace. So they go to eating that, and then after they are done eating, the food, then they fight over the freaking fireplace and all that. And I like that there's a bunch of Mr. Krabses too, by the way. Apparently prehistoric Mr. Krabses are small, so apparently they eat them, which is pretty crazy. But they end up like eating them and all, but then they like when they get full and they, like I say, they start fighting over who gets the fire and all that, and it leads to some funny gags. Like this episode is really good. Like I think it's underrated. The reason why, though, it's only getting 100 points and not 120 is because I can't really understand what they're saying at times. You know? Like, I think it's kind of hard to understand what the characters are saying. Because they're speaking, their own language because, cavemen or Neanderthals or something like that. They speak different languages. Actually, has anybody proven that if early humans spoke different or not? Or do they just speak the same thing, I don't know. It's kind of weird, but... I mean, because I know we found, like, frozen, ones in, like, ice, but I don't know if they've ever, figured that out or not. But that's probably my only complaint with the episode, is I can't really understand what they're saying. So they had this, like, because they had this own language. I kind of wish maybe there could have been, like, subtitles or something, Like, I don't know. I just think, they could have done something with it. I mean, the language is fine, but, like, maybe put some subtitles or something in there. And it could be, like, it could get in the way of stuff, but, like, you could make it small, or maybe give you the option to change it. I don't know, like, it's just a little hard to understand what they're saying, but otherwise, as I said, the episode, in my opinion, is very underrated. Like, I don't think it's a bad episode. And yeah, I do think, like I said, some stuff drags on for a while, but I don't think it's that bad, but I also like seeing a giant prehistoric Gary. I like how freaking Mr. Krabs is shrunk down, but Gary's like freaking huge. It's pretty funny, but I don't know. Let's go ahead and move on to the next one. So now we go from, an episode I think is underrated, and I think people, people don't like it, but I think it's underrated. And I just don't think it's as bad as people say it is, to an episode that I think, a lot of people do not like, and I actually agree with. And that is the Great Snail Race. So this episode here, this is another one of these episodes that, like, is really, really just, oh my god, it can be stressful at times to sit through. So this episode here is about SpongeBob wanting to enter Gary in this snail race, because Squidward called Gary a mutt, which I like the imagery of it. It's pretty funny, like just like him. I think he was smoking like a pop or something. I don't know what those things are called, but it was really funny. Like. It was a pretty funny joke, but apparently he gets insulted by that. I'm like, I don't know, SpongeBob does not seem like somebody who would get insulted, like, or like feel like he'd be like that, But yeah, he wants to enter Gary in this race, but you see the problem here. Gary doesn't want to enter the race, but SpongeBob doesn't freaking listen. So, we gotta deal with all this crap and all where he gets pushed and all that, and, I'm not gonna lie to you guys, there are some funny moments with Patrick in this episode, too. Patrick's got some funny moments, like, I like where he has a freaking pet rock, and then he's got, like, and there's, like, one where he's freaking standing on top of, Squidward and all in the window. It's pretty funny. But yeah, it's a pretty, it's got some pretty funny jokes, but that's the thing though, like, I do think, it definitely takes it down a bit with, I said, Gary. Like, I think they go way too overboard with SpongeBob here. How even on the fucking tracks, oh my god, the tracks, what in the animators' minds thought, like, seeing a fucking snail like Gary crashing into a wall like a freaking car was a good idea. I feel so bad for Gary. Like, I still feel so bad, seeing Gary like that. Like, I really do. Like, I feel so bad for him. But yeah, I feel so bad, just seeing poor Gary, getting like this because, SpongeBob freaking pushed his ass too far. And all that. But I think this episode, though, I would still say this episode is a meh. And 57 points. Yeah, 57 points. No, that's not like a low score. But I think the jokes kind of make up for this episode. But I don't. I think maybe giving it 57 points. I think I should have gave it like maybe 48 or something because of the Gary stuff. But I don't know. I mean, I was going on back and forth on it. I knew I wanted to give it a meh, but I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do. Because I feel so bad for Gary, but but that stuff kind of happens more at the end, and freaking SpongeBob does get what he deserves, because Sandy comes out of nowhere and kicks his freaking butt, which is pretty funny. I think it's pretty funny. Also, apparently, I'm not sure if this is true. I was reading one of the comments. Somebody said, that, like, I don't know which video it was, but somebody said that there was, like, a deleted scene where, like, when Sandy kicked SpongeBob's butt, she got arrested or something like that. I'm like, I hope that ain't true. And if it's deleted, I mean, I'm glad it's deleted, but I'm just saying, yeah, I thought that would have ruined the joke, and, I feel like, SpongeBob totally deserved to get his butt kicked in that episode. But, yeah. But now we're going to move on to another episode. Now, here we have our first banned episode of the show. Our first one. I don't know if, I forgot to check, but people are saying, Quarantine Crabs is back. Because that episode got banned because of, COVID. But I don't know if they brought that back or not. Because I haven't really checked. I know it ain't on DVD, but I'm not sure if they actually brought that back or not on streaming. But, that episode got banned and all that. But I did forget to check about that. This is another one, though, that got banned and is still banned, but you can actually find it on DVDs, and for some reason, it's still on the 100 episodes of SpongeBob. Like, you can still find it on there. My guess is they probably reused the disc. Instead of just making new disc, they just reuse it. Like a lot of Disney movies, for example, do that too. They'll just reuse disc. Well, of course, they also censored some stuff too, like, their old logos and stuff like that. But they did, like, I feel like after a while they kind of just quit, doing that, and just they kind of just reuse the same thing. Like, I'm not sure why. But, that's kind of what SpongeBob does too. So it's like, I don't know if that episode will ever come on DVD or not. I don't know. It'd be nice if they could do like a Family Guy and release the band, because Family Guy has a banned episode too. I'll be having to tackle in the future too. It was banned. So yeah, but it was banned as well. But but it's still on you can get it on DVD. You can't, get, Quarantine Crabs on DVD. So, I don't know. Hopefully, it's back. Because if it's not, I'm going to have to figure out. I'll probably have to skip it if I get to I think it's season 12 in the future. So, yeah. But this one's on DVD, so I can watch it. But this one's called Midlife Crustaceans. And you're probably wondering why this one is banned. Well, apparently this one is banned because of a panty rate. Yeah, a panty rate. Yeah, SpongeBob had a freaking panty rate. More on that in a second. First we'll talk about the episode itself. So Mr. Krabs is tired of being old, Because as you guys see down here, the fun fact is that this episode, he actually does not, this episode has nothing to do with him obsessed with money, which is very rare for Mr. Krabs. There's another episode, at least another one. I mean, I don't know how many more they've done in this. I guess to be fair, like, in season 1 and early season 2, it was very common. Because, like, I think, yeah, even Dying in Pi... Well, Dying in Pi was more focused on Squidward, and, it was more of a Squidward and, Spongebob episode. I mean, I guess Hooky in season 1 kind of was, too, but Hooky was kind of a Mr. Krabs themed episode, if you think about it, because it focused on him with hooks. You know, he had an obsession with hooks. You know, he was trying to keep them away from the hooks so they didn't get hooked. I mean, there was like one joke where it wasn't even a joke really, but it was like Mr. Krabs talking about how they don't get any breaks and stuff like that, but otherwise they really didn't do anything with that. And yeah, and SpongeBob was slacking off in that episode, so any boss would be furious about that. But yeah, this one doesn't focus on that at all. Instead, it focuses on Mr. Krabs getting old. You know, so I kind of feel bad because everybody treats him like crap, like even his own daughter. Like he's trying to, you know, just, like, I'm not gonna lie to you guys, I think I've said this before, but I'll just say it again. I don't really care for Pearl that much. Like, Pearl, I kind of hate how she just kind of bitches and all that, you know, in a lot of the episodes she's in. She's just like Mr. Krabs just trying to be cool with her and all that, or Curl, or what, you know, and she's just she's like, ew, it's gross when you say it, and I'm just like, oh my god, I fucking do not like Pearl a lot of times, I just really don't. But, yeah. But, yeah, it's kind of one of those things where I'm just like, I don't know, but yeah, basically he decides to, you know, go see what SpongeBob and Patrick are up to. Apparently they're trying to go have some fun and hang out. And apparently pretty much everything they're doing is kind of, well, actually, I'll say a couple of the things they're doing looks kind of fun. Like them going to like a Chuck E. Cheese looking thing's pretty cool. Where Mr. Krabs is like dressed as a clown. It's pretty funny. I don't know why he's wearing a freaking hat with like a ropes coming out of his head. I don't know, that's kind of weird. It's like the kids are like dancing around him, and it's very weird. But I don't know. But yeah, they do that, and then like they're also like apparently I guess playing Dungeons and Dragons or something, because I'm like SpongeBob is wearing like elf ears, and then they also are in the pool. You know, it's pretty fun, except for when Patrick, you know, uses freaking, when Patrick, you know, uses, goes to the bathroom in the pool. But they do some fun stuff, you know, but like, I mean, like picking up litter on the freaking streets, like, yeah, that ain't very fun and all that, you know. And but, yeah, I don't know, it's just kind of, you know, one of those things, but yeah, basically, though, he gets kind of fed up with their bogus, and then he decides to, like, like, he's done with them, and then apparently Patrick brings up the panty rate thing. So, yeah, they basically, they go to, like, sneak in somebody's house to get panty rates, and apparently, it's Mr. Krabs' mom, and all that, and, he gets in trouble and all that, and, you know, that's pretty much the episode there, and that's pretty much how it ends. He gets in his little race car bed, you know. So I guess Pearl is, without, you know, her dad that night, so also, I think this is the last time Mrs. Krabs is voiced by her original voice actor. You know, so, yeah, she's gonna have a different voice actor in the next season. That's just a heads up. Actually, I think it's gonna be the same voice actor who voices, Karen, you know, Plankton's wife. I'm pretty sure it is. I don't know who voiced her before that. I forgot to look that up. But yeah, yeah, pretty much, yeah. So, yeah, basically, this episode was abandoned. I mean, it was banned because of the panty rate. I'm just like, really? I'm like, out of all the episodes, you guys had to ban that. I mean, you guys couldn't have banned, like, this episode here. Yeah, there's a reason why I showed this one off. I didn't mean to show it off right off the bat. My finger slipped. But yeah, this is, this episode here, I'm freaking the one episode in season 6 where SpongeBob is being a fucking creep and, like, harassing Squidward, bugging him for breathing and all that, and, like, stalking him, like, like when he's trying to, eat and stuff like that. Like that episode's okay. Like, that episode's okay to, like, be around, like, for children, but the other one's not. And I mean, you could say, well, kids are not gonna pay attention to that, they're just gonna watch the episode, but, like, I'm just saying, they have that, and people have seen worse from this show, Teen Titans Go. They've seen fucking worse from this show, so I'm like, really? I'm like, why? Like, why are they, why are they wanting to, like, why do they ban, this episode, And I know I'm, like, bringing up Teen Titans Go, a bit, but I'm like, that's a big example of what I'm talking about. That show is always, they're always trying to, do stuff, like, they teach kids that getting presents is, like Christmas is only about presents, and if you don't get what you want, you need to be bad and all that, and then, like, they're trying to teach kids that boys versus girls are bad, like, one gender is better than the other, and I'm just saying, parents complain about that stuff, but, about the panties scene, from this show, but Mr. Krabs at least got punished for it, And that, and in shows like Teen Titans Go, they don't get punished for what they do. They get away with it, And I mean, I'm not saying they should ban, all those episodes, but I'm just saying they could ban some of them because some of them don't really give good messages. I'm like, keep good episodes like these, here, But, yeah, I don't know. Maybe now that Paramount, though, is getting Warner Brothers, maybe they can do that. I bet you, though, they will not do that, though. I bet you guys they will not. Because Paramount is getting Warner Brothers, so, but, I doubt, I think they're just getting it for the IP. I doubt they will do really anything with the shows that are still going on, so, but I'm just saying, like, I'm just saying, like, there is shows out there where, where they have done bad things, but like I said, those are okay, But, yeah, I don't know. But let's go ahead and let's move on to, giving it a score, though. I've said that this episode is definitely getting a good. And we're gonna give it 120 points. Yeah, this episode's really good. It is a shame, though, like, that it is banned on streaming, but at least you have it on DVD, But yeah, I'm not really happy this one got banned. I don't think this one deserved to get banned. Like I said, there are worse episodes in SpongeBob, and for people are complaining about this stuff, I'm like, there are worse things. Like I said, Teen Titans Go, is an example. Like I said, there's probably other shows too, like, yeah, I'm just saying that is an example of a show, that teaches bad stuff to kids. I'm just saying. I guess to be fair, though, a lot of people online do point that out, so, I mean, I don't know. But I just think it's just kind of weird, but I mean, maybe it wasn't even the audience. Maybe it was just Paramount deciding to do it. I don't know. I heard that it got banned actually. I think in 2019, and then like it was on Paramount Plus for a little while, and then it got banned there. And ironically, a season 7 episode called Gary in Love took over its spot, and then they just got rid of it too. I didn't understand why they put it there, but there was so it was on Paramount Plus twice. I think it was just weird, but I don't know. But yeah, I don't know if I have any footage of that, but that was just very bizarre. But we have like 2 more episodes, so let's go ahead and finish them up. So now we have Born Again Crabs. Another episode, I don't have a ton to say because I think like other people have already said some stuff about it, but I do want to kind of, talk about it. So Mr. Krabs, so like the last episode I just reviewed, it didn't focus on money at all. This episode is entirely on money, and Mr. Krabs is probably greediest moments. This is one of his greediest moments. And not greedy in a good way, like, entertaining way. It's kind of greedy in kind of a bad way. Like it's not unwatchable, but there are a lot of things in this episode that make you really hate Mr. Krabs. So Mr. Krabs apparently wants to sell this old patty Spongebob found under the grill, but nobody wants to buy this patty because the patty is super old. So, he cannot get any customers, but he decides to eat it because nobody else is. He ends up in the hospital, and then he comes back, like, after getting a visit from the Flying Dutchman, by the way, which, this is like the 5th time we see the Flying Dutchman, so that's good. We get to see him again, because here on out, he will only appear, like, once per season. And similar to Patchy, he will disappear as time goes on, and then he'll kind of come back. Like, he just disappears. I don't know if they couldn't get the voice actor, in or not, but I don't know, it's just kind of weird. Ironically, though, he has the opposite role of, like, Merman and Barnacle Boy. So Merman and Barnacle Boy, well, I guess to be fair, even in the first season and then the 3rd season here, they have, like, 2 episodes. But then, like, I guess the third one and the 4th one, they don't really appear a lot at all, like, just, like, 1 episode. And then after that, they start appearing, more often until their voice actors sadly pass. At least the first one, Merman, because, you can't have a Merman and Barnacle Boy episode without both of them in there. But yeah, so yeah, Born Again Crabs, though, Born Again Crabs, though, is an episode, though, like, where we see the Flying Dutchman. So, in a way, he kind of is like instead of, like, stealing people's souls, which, I don't know if that's, like, pickles, or, what he does with that, because, it doesn't look like we see him devour anybody, so that's something, but apparently, though, he is like the Grim Reaper in this episode, if you think about it. He sends Mr. Krabs to, Davy Jones' locker. Which actually, is this the first time we hear about Davy Jones' locker? Like, I'm not really sure. I'm pretty sure this is the first time we hear about it. I could be wrong, but I don't remember hearing about it in the other episodes. I don't know. Because I think he had he appeared a little bit in the other ones. Here he has more screen time. There was Shanghai, but I don't remember him bringing up Davy Jones' locker at all. Well, if that's the case, so Davy Jones was actually a real person. He sadly passed away as well. But he was a real person and all that, and they made like jokes about this throughout the entire series. It was pretty interesting and all that, but like I wouldn't even call these more jokes. It's more so like they would like the Flying Dutchman was obsessed with that. But yeah, honestly, so Mr. Krabs has to be good, not cheap. Otherwise, he'll spend the rest of his days in some dirty socks. I mean, I'm not really a fan of dirty socks or anything, but I think I would take that over like burning in hell anytime soon. So just burning in hell and freaking, I don't think anybody would want that. But I guess being in eternity in a locker or two, would be crazy too, especially with dirty socks. But yeah, I don't know. But yeah, I don't know. But yeah, like the thing is though is he goes back and there and all that, and he's like trying to be nice and all that, and apparently he's losing money, and realizes he's awake, and apparently threatens to kill somebody over a penny and all that. So he kills somebody, not kill somebody, I mean like take their arm off over a penny. And then he SpongeBob stands up for Mr. Krabs, and Mr. Krabs, of course, has a deal and all that, because SpongeBob gave a deal with his soul. Apparently, though, Mr. Krabs trades freaking SpongeBob for 62 cents. So bad that even Squidward, calls it out of all people. And Squidward hates SpongeBob, So the fact that Mr. Krabs went this far just shows you how bad he is. Like, remember when Mr. Krabs used to be a great boss? Yeah, he was a little bit stuck up at times, but in the earlier seasons, well, by earlier, I mean like season 1 and all that, he was a great boss. How even early season 2, like we had Dime for Pie and all that, Like I mentioned, he cared about it. Like he cared about his workers. Like he cared about, his workers and all that. Now he doesn't even care about them at all. He just cares about freaking money. That's what we see here. So, but I mean, yeah, he learned his lesson and all that. But yeah, this is probably one of the worst things, maybe the worst things Mr. Krabs has ever done. Hell, Plankton hasn't even done something this evil. I mean, Plankton's done some pretty evil things, but like, when I talk about bad, workers and all, like Plankton wouldn't even do that, and he's evil. But that's just crazy, That's crazy how bad they made Mr. Krabs. Now another thing that's interesting too about this, there's two things I want to talk about because I'm going to let the episode go here. Because I don't have a lot else to say, but after this, I keep saying that, but I have some things to add, but trust me, this is the last two things I'm going to point out. One of them is the doctor. Like, the doctor was looking at Mr. Krabs' notes like he was scared. Like, he says, "Do not touch me," and screams and runs off. Like, I don't really get that joke. Like, I don't know, like, what was going on there. And then also, Patrick. Patrick does not appear in this episode at all. But Patrick is mentioned, and there's a title card where we see SpongeBob, Squidward, Mr. Krabs, and Patrick all in the title card. But somehow he's not in there. He's not in the episode. That's kind of weird. Like, I don't know, maybe if he was going to appear in an original draft of the episode or something, maybe he was going to have a pop-up appearance. I don't know, I just think it's kind of weird. But yeah, I don't know. But yeah, this episode, though, in my opinion, this one, I definitely think it's a good. But it's going to get 80 points. Yeah, it's getting 80 points. Yeah, it turns out I actually did have a lot to say about this episode. I didn't think I did, but I guess I did. But so many people have talked about it, but I guess I had some things to say about it. But Yeah, it's getting 80 points just because this is one of Mr. Krabs' more greedy moments. But compared to like Krabby Land and all that and crap down the road, this episode is like it's not as bad, but we're gonna go ahead and move on to the last episode. I had an accident. Now this episode right here, this one is definitely getting a good. It's getting a good, and it's gonna get 120 points. Similar to Chocolate with Nuts, this is another really funny episode. A really funny one. Once again, too, Patrick is really funny in this episode. Like, he's really funny in this episode. Like, what is with this? Like, what is with Patrick in this season being really funny? Like, I'm sorry, but he's just so funny. Like he's had a lot of great moments in this season. I mean, this is another one. Like I just think it's really funny. It's not a Patrick themed episode. It's about SpongeBob breaking his ass by falling on the ground. But he's like, he's falling on the ground and all that, and all that. But apparently he has to like go into hiding because, well, he doesn't have to go into hiding, but he's paranoid about the outside world because, he doesn't want to end up with the iron butt. I know there's iron lungs, but I didn't think there was an iron butt. I wonder if that's a real thing or not. I don't know. But yeah, it's really funny. Like, Patrick's got a lot of funny moments, like between him eating the yellow sand, which is a little gross but also funny, but as playing his video game and crashing both him and in his game, it's really funny. And also, just seeing him like washing an old person, like it's freaking hilarious. Like, it's hilarious. Like, it's a really funny, it has a lot of funny Patrick moments in it. How even like the Salty Splatoon episode 2, like, was another one of funny moments with Patrick where he gets freaking beat up and all that, and it's just really funny. Like, it's a really, really funny, like, like, really, Patrick just had some funny moments here and there. Like, they seem to, like, compared to season 2, it seems like they're doing a lot more with him. But something else I want to point out too, by the way, is this episode is this is actually the last time I believe this is the last time we hear the Water Blowers theme. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure this is the last time we hear the Water Blowers theme, in the show. And then this is also the last time, well, at least until season 5, where we hear the nostalgic Hawaii music. Because that music plays, like, it played in, like, the title cards, like, the Valentine's Day episode and all that, and Gary Takes a Bath and all that. It was even in Gary Takes a Bath, too, that track. That one, like, they kind of, it disappears after a while. It appears in season 5, but then it kind of gets forgotten about. Man, it kind of sucks they kind of forgot about, well, people say that they lost the rights to these songs, but I don't know. I'm like, I don't know if that's 100% true, because some of these are just remixes of tracks they use, too. So, I don't know. But, the thing is, though, with the internet and stuff, sometimes some things may seem real, but maybe they're not. I don't know. But yeah, this episode definitely is a really, really good one. Definitely one of my favorites. Trying to think if there's anything else I need to say. Oh yeah, this also, by the way, has probably the most craziest of all endings ever. Apparently, this random gorilla comes outside. SpongeBob has to save him. And then this gorilla, like, freaking, rips SpongeBob in half. And apparently, it's like some sort of stage or something, and he's freaking riding a horse. He's riding a freaking horse and all that. But yeah, he's riding a horse and all that, and then apparently it cuts to people with the TV, and they turn the TV off. I'm not gonna lie, these people kind of look familiar. I can't remember, like what I've seen them in before, but I think I've seen these people in the show before. I can't remember, but it's really cool. Like, I really like it a lot. Definitely one of my favorites, though, for sure. But yeah, there's just been a lot of stuff to like point out in this episode, though, or in this set. This set's actually, I've had a lot to say. Now I guess there is one more thing. Apparently, I don't know if it's the horse or the gorilla, but one of them is played by, I think, Frank Welker. I heard, I think it's Frank Welker who voices Fred, from Scooby Doo. I think he actually voices Megatron too, and Soundwave from the original Transformers series too. So he's been in a few stuff, but he's mostly known for Fred. So I think he's the gorilla. I don't know who the horse guys are, because you have to have two people to be in the horse costumes, I think. But I don't know if you can't have one in there. I think you have to have two people, but maybe I'm wrong. But I usually see people with two people in the horse costumes, but yeah, that's pretty much it. There really isn't much else to really point out here. But yeah, this has definitely been a really good set, and we'll see how the last 7 episodes end, and hopefully the video will not be as long, because I won't have as much to say. But I had a lot to say in this set, I had a lot to say, so yeah, I'm sorry if it's a super long video, but I had a lot to say. But I'm going to go ahead and let the video go from here, and I will see you guys all next time. Anywho, Dash All Rose, out.